Good afternoon, and welcome to the Subcommittee C, Advisory and Finance meeting. My name is Gail Butler, and I am chairing this meeting today. With me in person is Tom Tricinto, Miles Ramey, and joining us on Zoom is Brianna Keating. And I'm also told that we have Rio here today with us. You may see him walking around. Oh, here he is. Rio, can you take a bow? Oh. Will he stand up? He won't stand up, right? Okay.
I'm not gonna anything.
Okay, all right. This is a Zoom meeting, which is https:// townhalls dash Plymouth dash mass dash US dot Zoom dot US /J 965275988841. Meeting ID is 96527598841. Passcode 622124. Okay. All right, joining first comments. Does anyone have any comments I'd like to make before we start? Okay, our first presenter is Police Chief Dana Flynn. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. So my proposed budget for FY27 includes $16,338,919 for personnel services, $1,137,275 for other expenses, and $988,908 for departmental equipment. This is a $1,022,700 increase over FY26. The increase in the personnel services include 2% COLA and other conditions that are required by both the personnel code and associated collective bargaining agreements, effective on July 1st. In addition, the increase in our overall other expenses over last year. Majority of that has to do with the costs incurred now in our third year of our body worn camera program. The first 2 years were funded through ARPA funds. This year we're picking up the third year cost of $266,000. We had a few nominal increases in training of $14,000 and plus ammunition of just under $12,000. And just over $2,500 for our website hosting. We had an increase of $23,000 in uniforms and equipment to address the projected new hires for 2027, and some miscellaneous equipment replacement that end of life, such as portable radio batteries, and known increases in memberships and dues for some of our staff.
Okay. Questions? Tom? Oh, Brianna. Go ahead. Brianna?
Okay, yeah, sorry. You have to unmute me on your end. I can't unmute myself. So you mentioned there's the 107.8% increase on R&M equipment. Is that what you said was the primarily for body cam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big expense. So, and actually I apologize. So I read up my memo. My total request for this year is
That's it.
that's it. Yeah. 19,565,700. And yeah, the biggest increase for us in the equipment is the body cameras.
And how much does that account for? Do you know? Or is that all of the 269,000 increase?
1 second. that's the majority of it. There's just a few minor increases as well.
Repair and maintain equipment.
Yeah, so we've had increases in some of our user fees for some of the software that we have. And we have some increases in our policy maintenance management system, Power DMS. They've had increases in their services as well.
Thank you.
Sure. Personnel.
Yep.
This is you're short, 30. Short. You're staffed at 81 patrol officers, so you're short 29. No, 19,
No, currently we're short 16
so you're short
total.
16.
Yeah,
And one sergeant.
and one sergeant.
Okay, and then we go to the payroll. For salaries and wages. There's, like blank lines. With no names, and then it just has like officer backfill, officer backfill, officer backfill. What does that mean?
And while who's looking for that,
Yeah.
I forgot to get back to you, I'm so sorry. The reason some of them have two lines is that like every other vacant position, they budgeted for a January step increase because we don't know when they're gonna be hired.
Sure.
And after you go up. And so to catch it in the fiscal year, they do half and half of them at July and half at January, so that when they hire them, they make sure they have enough.
New position sergeant, that's the open one. So that has the staff, I'm guessing, for 48.
Other people would have it also, that you'd have to ask the chief. You asked me about the, about the vacancies, and some of them are in January and some are July, just budgeted to make sure there's enough.
Yeah, so the backfills right now, they're current vacancies now projected in FY 27. We don't have names associated with them yet.
Yeah.
Because some are gonna involve. Some are gonna involve starting at higher salaries and benefits.
Yeah.
So
Yes, if I counted 15 of the officer backfill. So that would account for the, I mean, you said 16 officers, so you're just budgeting for the 16 you don't have.
So right now, we're budgeting for our full complement, which is 100 patrolmen, 30 supervisors.
Mhm. And then if that's not used at the end of the fiscal, where does that
Goes back to town.
to the free cash?
I just tell them to take it,
Yeah.
zero me out and do with it if you will.
Okay, and does that go back to a town meeting warrant, or is it just goes?
Just goes back.
Do you ever have your full complement?
I have yet. So when I first became chief in 21, June of 21, I projected that September I'd be short 23. So I've been chasing my tail ever since.
What's the closest?
I
Do you
think
know
we're
the
pretty much the
department?
closest right now, right? I have 16 vacancies. There are 5 in the academy right now. We don't count them until they actually graduate because a lot can happen. So then I have 2 in the process for an academy starting in February. And we're doing some recruitment and retention program with the town now. They're hoping to get some laterals come in. So
Yeah.
knock wood, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be at full staffing.
Good.
Changing gears unless you have,
Nope, that was my one.
have you looked at your birth laws printout?
You wanna see mine?
I don't.
I don't have that.
I
You wanna see
can,
mine?
Gail has it.
Sure, thanks.
All marked up for you. I don't know what they're gonna ask you, but
I just didn't know if you knew the status of some of the older ones. And then some of the ones from April 2025, I know that's not that old, but, like the armored vehicle replacement, I would imagine it's like a fire truck, you have to order it in a couple
Yeah,
years,
so-
that gets spent.
So the armored vehicle replacement, that was gonna be part of a grant. But we looked at the requirements for the grant and all the, it didn't work for us, so we ended up giving this the two. So, we did not go forward with that program. There were too many machines
Mhm.
that would have been, would not have been beneficial to us, so we gave that back. The feasibility study on the police headquarters, that has now been changed to a feasibility study for a combined public safety complex, if you will.
Mhm.
So the fire chief and I are right now, in the midst of working with procurement for the RFP to go out very shortly.
So piggybacking on the combined PSP, would that timeline as far as, because just going back to the request for like the gym and the parking lot work and stuff like that, would that be better like put on hold or?
Well, that's a quandary I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, so right now, we're just doing a feasibility study now for probably 10 years from now.
Sure.
So in the interim, we have to continue to use the facility we're in,
Mhm.
and the study may come back and say, no,
Yeah, it
it's
doesn't-
not right, or the town, some of the pricing now for a facility like this, the town may say we can't afford it, and you know, I just want to maintain what we have for now.
Sure.
To make sure that, you know, since we're there for a long time.
Right,
Absolutely.
and you're talking about like a joint facility at where the police headquarters is right now, or is that what the study would determine?
We're not sure yet, that'll be part of the study,
Okay.
where the best location be. And you know, even if it would work.
In the communities that it has worked, the location of the facility is very important because obviously strategically we have the fire stations
Right.
scattered throughout town to have certain coverage areas. There's certain coverage areas that the police would want to have their headquarters in. If those two collide, then we'd have to look at, what that would look like, what kind of space requirements we'd need, and what kind of setup. Whether it was a campus style with several different buildings,
Mhm.
some shared, some not, or a combined single structure.
That you want to put a firehouse right on the edge of town for no reason.
For no reason.
Yeah. Um. And then like I noticed the one right above that, there's another, what I'm thinking is your evidence locker.
Yeah, so the climate control, that is kind of in abeyance right now. We've had a project in the works for the past several years. The HVAC system for the entire building it's kind of run its course. So I think it's starting next month, January, February, I think. They're gonna start coming in and taking that system out, replacing that system. And the 67-850 is gonna be held in abeyance for any overruns in that project, which should take care of the evidence room.
I know we just moved 500,000 into the facility capital stabilization fund, which already had a few $1,000,000 in it. So just thinking outside the box to, instead of taking this out of the general fund, if we can, slide some money off of that account in lieu. I mean, like Lynn said, the point of that budget was for building maintenance and, moving forward. So just something to keep in mind. Very good. That budget is there. Especially like the parking lot. I brought the parking lot up last night at
Yeah.
advisory.
Yeah.
She said, it's really more for like the building itself. I was like, I mean, that counts, right?
I would think facility is a facility.
Yeah.
We can't operate without a parking lot and, so.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with it.
And then the street lighting, is that?
So the street lighting, we're in a test phase, if you will. The polls have been set. They were trying out some solar lighting right now. And they're still adjusting it for proper, downward lighting on the surface and whatnot, and depending how it works out, we'll either keep the solar lighting or we'll try something else. But that's still ongoing.
So you just haven't paid them yet, just basically why it still says 40,000? Or is this just outdated? Cause it says, you also said you gave the money back for the armored vehicle, but it says here that.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have to check with finance.
If there's a balance on there, we haven't received an official request. Go ahead and send it.
Well, this was also from the 14th, so if you did it in the last 2 weeks, then, or whatever today is, then.
I still probably would have heard about it.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
working in conjunction, so we got the money for it, the DPW, James, James Downey, he contracted with the company to come in and do the work, so I'm not even sure if he received an invoice yet
Okay,
for the work that's been done. Again, it's a trial period.
yeah. And then pretty much everything above that, it looks like work was done.
Yep.
But it just is outstanding money that is sitting there. Except for maybe the mobile data terminal replacement, because most of that is still balance. Anyway,
Yes, I mean, some of that we hold on to for ongoing projects, like the cat RMS system, we have updates that need to be done. Still, same with the mobile data terminals. So whenever we have any failures or the needs there, that's what it fits the description, that's what we'll take from.
okay.
So sorry, just to follow up, is there anything then above that line? So starting at the cats and then going down to the to the training roll call, or is there any of that can be returned that you are not going to spend?
I'll have to check on the training roll call. I know that they have to come back and add a couple more outlets in there for us. I'm not sure if that work's been completed yet.
I think that starts tomorrow. maybe.
That starts tomorrow. The mobile data terminal replacement, I would have to check with my IT. I know he's got a couple of projects for for some of the mobile data terminals and remote access for the command staff. And above that is the storage building. I don't know why that's still there. I think we tried to get that money back before. I thought we sent it back before because we're all done with that project, 1897. So we'll have to check on those.
Yeah, and the security gate, I think, too.
The security gate is. We're still having some issues there with compatibility or there's an issue. It's all wireless now, so they've been back and forth trying to get that going. So we're holding that $410 for any subsequent costs that we have to for maintenance on that.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
Thank
I was
you.
gonna say, I need this too, if I'm gonna ask. I think you got all the ones that I had.
Actually, I did have one other question.
Go ahead.
You got me off guard when you said you gave back the armored vehicle replacement. Is there an option to use that for your police cruisers that we were talking about using that free cash for? Or I guess
well,
if
that
it
was
goes back to free cash anyway, it's kind of moved.
see the issue with that is, capital's supposed to be so much of a cost expense over so many years.
Mhm.
Our cruisers are replaced every 3 years.
Right.
So I don't know if the capital is appropriate for that.
Mhm.
But an email was sent to Lynn back in August, right? Or you left, that we were returning that funding to her
Okay,
because we weren't gonna go forward with the project.
okay.
You have the 12 cruiser replacements marked,
Yes,
and what they said 2 was what they brought up at the.
yeah, so originally my request was for 12, it was cut to 10. As part of the budget, 1%, we were gonna cut 2 more, but they were put back in. And again, those costs every year fluctuate, and we really don't know until we put our order in. We try to project, before every budget season, we do meet with the vendor and ask them what they believe the increase will be for the upcoming year.
Mhm.
Some years we've seen increases 8%, 12%, 15%, just it's outlandish. So we try to do our best to, so we'll put in for a certain amount of cars, 12 cars, and if we only get voting 8, 9, or 10, that what we get is what we get.
Chief, could we ask you to update us on which projects from the Burke's Law in the next like 2 weeks that you are done with? And if you've already said, to just
Yeah,
reiterate,
I'll send it off.
because we want to clean it up before April town meeting. We want to do that in March. We'll be sending out a blast to everybody, but since you think you have some, if you could.
Okay, question on the wildfire protection plan. You've spent money on that. There's still 6,000 that you haven't. So you're saying that's going back to free cash?
Are you in police?
No, you're in fire.
I'm in fire.
We're not.
But we're on police.
Please, sorry. It messes me up when it says police at the top and fire. Yeah, okay, you're right. Okay, all right. So questions I have are 2 motorcycles
Yes.
that you're leasing space for, or you're leasing the 2
We
motorcycles?
lease the motorcycles.
Okay, and what are they used for?
Patrol, special events, traffic enforcement.
So each time you take them out, it's 13,000
No, that's per year.
per year. Okay, how many times do you use them during the year?
I would have to go back and look at it all on our patrol
2,
buses.
6, 12,
20, 30 in bus times.
Yeah.
30,
Around
okay,
the time that we use daily, pretty much daily in the summer.
okay. What is a power DMS?
That's our policy management system.
Okay,
So that's a system that tracks all of our policy procedures, rules and regulations. It's a program that pretty much allows us to work paper-free.
okay,
Everything goes into the cloud. Any memos, personnel orders, directives, trainings goes into that system, is blasted out to the department, and they conduct all their training and review on the system.
okay. Then you have merge contract for the taser?
Yes, so tasers have become end of life this year. So
All of them?
yes, yep. So
How many would that be
I think
approximately?
130, 128, 130. So what we were able to do is, since Axon is the only vendor for tasers and they are the same vendor for our body worn cameras, we were able to renegotiate a contract with them for the new tasers along with the current body worn camera program. So it's all melded into one contract at a little bit of reduced price.
So that's the body
BWC's body worn camera.
body one camera.
Yes.
Okay. And I think that's all the questions that I have. Any other questions?
Just
I
wanna-
have, sorry, but if you want to do questions in the room first, that's fine.
No, go ahead.
So I wanted to kind of go back to some of the proposed cuts that when the select board had asked you to put up proposed cuts, and I know that they recommended you get funded for all of those things, but I wanted to kind of go back to some of them and discuss that. So one, I know you recommend, or you said that you could cut 5,000 in ammunitions costs.
Yeah.
I would be apt to support that cut, so I don't know if you wanted to discuss that at all.
Sure. Well, let me ask you, why would you support that? I mean,
Because if you had said that you thought maybe your surplus that you had would be able to cover that, and so it seems like if we're in a year where we're trying to cut down, let's cut it.
okay. So we work in a very litigious profession. So what we do is we trade as often as possible. So including firearms, we used to do just firearms training once a year. We now do it twice a year. Our staffing again is extremely low. We're hoping to hire 16 new employees by FY27. They'll all have to be trained. And when we buy ammunition, we buy it in bulk. And if we can just have surplus on hand, that way the following year, we probably won't have to buy as much.
Okay.
Can you approximate how many rounds $5,000 worth of ammunition?
I'd have to reach out to the training lieutenant for that. What's the caliber?
And
I was thinking 9mm, but
Yeah, we shoot 9mm and 223 for the rifles. We have just retired our shotguns. So
completely, you don't have any shotguns?
we're not gonna utilize them anymore, no.
that's those ones I saw them.
Yeah.
Those look like they're big and heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy.
They look good.
And they've kind of on their course. So I could look at that again, you know, the cutting, now let me talk to the training lieutenant. If that's something you're interested in.
And then I know there was I think it was 4,000 you had said you could potentially cut in overtime costs. I guess what I was wondering, I know that you've saved some money by having like the rec department cover traffic or not parking enforcement at White Horse Beach. I'm just wondering in some of the overtime budgets if there's any opportunity for like cost savings or other departments to be doing it, or I know you had said you could potentially cut 4K in the overtime costs, so just wanted to also look at that.
So actually my total overtime proposal reduction was $110,695. So what that would incur is there's a lot of events that happen in town that we are not reimbursed for, like the National Day of Mourning, the White Horse Beach bonfires every July 3rd. That comes out of my budget. So my initial proposal would be cut those fundings and no longer have an event down White Horse Beach and reduce security on the day of mourning. As far as the parking enforcement on White Horse Beach, we did have a budget for that, but we returned that. I think it was 65,000 this year. And we returned that to the town to be given to HHS for the rec department.
Yeah, I think one of the things we were talking about is any other efficiencies. So that was just an example. It seemed like that was a good decision. So just looking at whether there was anything else like that could save money.
Yeah. No, I fully understand. Yeah.
Okay. And then I did have follow-ups on the cruisers as well. I think during the select board presentation, you said that am I correct that you have a company that rates the vehicles and that's how you decide which ones need to get replaced each year? Was that correct?
No, so the DPW mechanic and my administrative captain get together every year and they do an assessment of the entire fleet based upon mileage, maintenance already spent on the vehicles, overall conditions, and they make the determinations which ones are going to be moved out of the fleet each year. So
sorry. No, so this year with your request, is that the number that actually they identified saying we can't drive these anymore, we have to replace these?
So part of it is which ones are getting to the limit. So if we order the cars today, we typically don't see them for almost 6, 8, 9 months, maybe up to a year before you receive them. So we have to account for time that we don't know yet that could potentially happen. So it's a projection, you know, that they work off of. So when I spoke to the admin captain, this is what he said, that they're talking 12 to account for the year that we don't know yet.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Just my very last was the MDT upfit for the new cruiser. Why wouldn't that come out of the MDT terminal
He just
replacement?
dances?
So again, So this is, right now we have 0 spares.
Yep.
So that's why we added that one.
That, the upfit is for a spare,
Yes, yeah.
but that wouldn't come out of, replacement.
Um. That's a good question. I think we may have, when we did to put our budget together, we may have counted.
Mhm.
We wanted 2, and we may have accounted for that one, the 4,000 still in the Burke's lot, and then addition.
And yeah, Burke's Law, I think, has 18,000 still, so you could get.
You could get a new car, a new cruiser.
No,
You get 3 MDTs, no, so yeah, that was another.
yeah, because we found we've had to take MDTs out of some of our marked vehicles to. Or other vehicles to make up for the loss.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm out of
Were we
stock.
gonna, oh, sorry. Do you have
Okay.
more? Oh, I just didn't know if we were gonna discuss the requests, like the added on requests at all, or if anyone,
Sure.
or if anyone had, I thought some people had questions when we met previously, but maybe they've been answered.
What question do you have? What did you want to discuss?
I don't know if Tom already got this information, but I know you had some questions about the gym and wellness, whether any grants had been applied for.
Cause we talked very briefly where I said, we had the other account that we just put money in for building maintenance. And,
Right.
that was like my recommendation was that we, instead of using from general, we use from that account for these requests.
Before we talk about that, we were kind of curious where the money from parking tickets goes. Does it go back to the town or does it go somewhere else?
Oh, that goes straight to Park Plymouth.
Park. Okay.
Yep.
So, because we were wondering if that could go back to the department at all to help pay for some of your stuff, but
Right.
it does go back to the town though.
It whatever. Sure.
Ready to.
Thank you.
Here. Vote on accepting presentations?
No, it's, good for that. Motion is putting up.
You know, something?
Yeah.
There's something. Yes, okay.
Hey.
The dog?
The owl.
The owl.
Yeah.
What is the owl saying?
It says hoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
And when it goes to sleep, I think
Okay.
it just lets you know.
Miss Keating?
Oh, I can hear you now, but I think the video is coming on. Yeah, now I can see you and hear you. Thanks.
How do you vote?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you just said
Okay.
or anything.
Acceptance of the presentation?
Sorry, can you say that again? I didn't hear that.
Voting on the acceptance of the presentation.
Oh, yes, yes,
On the budget.
yes.
Okay, it's a presentation budget, okay.
Did somebody first and second it?
Oh, yeah. Who wants to
So-
first?
so-
Who wants to, I didn't write that in.
And you're proposing as recommended? Is that what you're
Yeah.
suggesting?
Yes, recommended, okay. Okay, Mr. Raymond first. Ms. Keating, you want to second it?
Second,
Okay. And we've already voted, so, okay. Anything else? Okay, you are free to go. Have fun at your doctor's office.
Oh, it's not fun. Trust
I
me.
know.
Thank you.
Did you vote the budget or she just seconded?
We'd already voted.
Did you vote? Okay.
Yes, because she was having trouble hearing me, asking for the vote.
I think she voted before we.
Out of order, but yes, we all voted yes.
Okay,
You could make it official if you want.
okay. Would you like to revote? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Ms.
Yes.
Keating?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Good luck with the storm, everybody.
Yes,
You
Old
too.
hats. Old
Yes.
hats.
You guys are getting to the home.
I know. Are you secure? Yeah, I'm having it. Okay.
Okay.
That's it, buddy. Not quite yet.
Soon.
Not so fast.
Okay,
5 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for the 25 minutes.
Thank you. Our next presenter is Chief Neil Foley, who will be presenting emergency management. Welcome, Chief.
I'll be presenting the fire department budget first. I do have the emergency management director here as well, who'll be able to speak upon the emergency management budget. So the department is requesting a total of 19,342,236 confirmed. And honestly, this is probably easier this year than it has been in previous years because the changes are primarily to the wages line item. When we went through the budget process and realizing where the town was and their financial constraints, the town manager and the finance director we worked together, and basically we static funded the expenses line item so that the budget I'm currently working under is the budget that I'm bringing forward to the next fiscal year. That's going to create some challenges because we do know that, especially with maintenance costs of the apparatus, we were looking at least a 5 to 7% across the board increase in costs, and that's just an estimate. That range can change dramatically depending on current world events, which right now we're talking about tariffs. So that 7% can turn into 14% pretty rapidly. So it is going to take some financial juggling and forecasting on our part. We're going to have to break out our crystal ball and really work hard to prioritize our budget as we move into this next fiscal year without really understanding what the implications of this economy is going to bring for us. As far as the wages line item, the increases are mostly directly related to the contractual increases with COLA's cost of living the adjustments and other incentives that are within the CBAs of the staff. There is a increase to our overtime line item. Partially that is to contractual because obviously when salaries go up, so does the overtime rate. So we do have to account for that so that we'll make sure we're not shortchanging ourselves as we move forward. The additional funding, although significant, was a kind of a compromise. The town administration understands that we're at a tipping point with our delivery of services. Over the past even 3 years, we've seen a steady increase in our response times, which has us outside of the range of the national average, which typically in Plymouth, that's understandable given our large geographic area that we've got to cover. But when we're watching for trends, we're seeing that trend line go up as far as our response time. And that's because our responses have doubled since 2015. And the only increase in staffing has been since 2018 when we added 12 firefighters and we're able to open up an additional company, an additional response apparatus to be able to try to meet those expectations. The additional funding in the overtime line is so that we can more consistently staff a 9th company right now, which is the rescue out of the Pine Hill Station, which will give the southern districts additional manpower for responding to incidents and also create some redundancy and resiliency for when we get busy. I just looked at my phone just a second ago and we have 3 calls currently going on right now. So that's 3 different stations responding. So that leaves us 4 that are available to meet those calls. Additionally, NFPA states that, first response to any building fire would be 15 firefighters, which again, because of our geographic area, is very challenging to be able to get that many people on scene unless we strategically locate them in certain areas. So adding that additional, that's just for your basic run-of-the-mill single family home. That's a low hazard. That doesn't include all the apartment buildings. That's a whole different animal that we could get into. We can get into the weeds on this pretty quickly, but we're just looking at what our most common response is for large scale incidents, and it typically is a building fire at a residential structure. So looking at that benchmark of getting that amount of manpower on scene to effectively respond to it rescue and mitigate damage to that structure, and save people's lives. We are putting up that rescue more and more so that we have that ability to meet that demand as we move forward. This only gets us to a certain point. Where we're doing the chief Flynn and I are actually going to be doing a presentation next week to explain the growth of the community and the demand that has directly on public safety. So understanding that, the town manager and the finance director looked at it, and they felt as though, you know, this increase in the overtime budget will allow us to cover more of those absences and due to, you know, people having vacation, being able to take time off, and then also injuries. And then there's another part of it that kind of caught us a little off guard this year, which is because of the amount of turnover that we've had in the department, we have a much younger workforce. And with that younger workforce, they have young families, and young families have more babies. So when you know that occurs, the trend these days is that people take their paternity leave as their right and is allowed under state law. So we have more long-term absences across the board. It's not just injuries and illnesses anymore. Now we're getting into other statutory rights that the employees have to take additional time off. So with all that need for coverage to keep our staffing to where we need it, this increase in overtime is the primary driver.
Now, you said something about a ninth company?
Correct. Yep.
You said something about
Rescue.
rescue.
Mhm.
So that's the,
So in the fire department, we have different apparatus that perform different functions once on the fire ground. Obviously, we have our ladder, you know, tower. We have our engines, and the rescue is also kind of a specialty company that can, in the insurance ISO world, meets the requirements for response, whether it's a ladder or a rescue company. So it actually helps us with our ISO rating, which in turn keeps our insurance rates for property owners, at least where we're at, or decreases it to a certain degree.
okay, so this isn't something separate that you're doing for Pine Hills. That's a separate,
This is for the town.
this is for the town.
Yep.
Okay, so when you go out on a call, you have an idea of what you're going to be faced with? Yes, no? No.
In theory.
You can't answer for him.
In theory, we do get some information from dispatch as far as what they've been given by the caller on the other end. But obviously those people are under stress. So a lot of times we get fragmented information. Sometimes we get false information. What they see with their eyes isn't exactly what may be occurring. You know, an example would be somebody might say, my alarms are going off. And he's okay, so we'll respond out there. Well, when we get there and we open up the basement door, it's charged full of smoke because they have a fire in the basement. Same thing on, you know, the medical side. People, you know, they know somebody's having a problem. They say, yeah, he's just not acting right. So, okay, so we'll go check it out. Well, he's not acting right because they're having a seizure. They're you know, having a stroke. You know, we didn't get that information to begin with. So we respond with what we feel is the most appropriate for the emergency that we perceive with the information that we're getting. But we do have to bring additional resources just to make sure, because again, once we get on scene, if we need additional help and we make that call, now that's coming from another section of town, is going to be an extended response time.
Okay. Questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Why do you have Verizon and AT&T?
So we do it that way, and it's a redundancy for public safety. Because it could be that just recently, this is a great example, you have Verizon, but Verizon that gets shut down. Okay, so if we're all on Verizon and that's all we have for capabilities, well, then we're dead in the water with our cellular network as well. So a lot of our internet, IT, and devices will actually have them as dual role. So it may be running primarily on Verizon with a backup of AT&T.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions?
I was just hoping we could look at Burke's Law as well.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I did, honest to God, I thought I brought it with me. I'm searching my book.
Okay, let me see which ones I had for you. Okay, fire.
I definitely wanted to ask you about your command vehicles because
Fire
you are
protection
planning
plan.
on asking for two more, if I remember correctly, and you just.
I think one more.
One more.
One more, yeah.
And you got one in April of 2025?
Correct, it is on order, but until we take delivery, that'll be hanging out there.
Are those the ones that say like C2 one side that I see driving
Yeah.
around?
Yep.
Is that your car?
No.
C1.
C1. Yeah, so C2 and C3 are the two deputies. Then C7 would be the shift commander, C12 is our training and safety officer.
Okay.
Yep.
And are those just nearing their end of life? You've had them?
So C3 is definitely nearing its end of life. That's one that we're currently replacing.
C3 was the April 2025.
Correct, yeah. The one we're looking for.
That's C12.
That's C12, correct.
And a passenger van.
And a passenger van, correct.
You don't have a passenger van now.
I do not. What we currently do with that is, we use, command cars or any of the cars that we have, that have come out of primary use and we keep them as backup. The problem with that is that when we're sending 6 or 7 firefighters out to training, we have to take multiple vehicles and they're not always that reliable. And sometimes they're traveling across the state, to Stowe or Springfield or wherever else that they're going to be going to get the training. We've had them break down on the highway. There's obviously increased maintenance costs that go with that. And there's also, an environmental look at it as well. You take one singular vehicle that can carry all the equipment and firefighters that you need for the training. And then additionally, we can also, use that if we need to just get additional manpower to a scene during a large scale incident. People may come in from off duty and be at the stations. And now we would have a vehicle that can go pick them up, get them, refresh the workforce.
Okay.
Looking at Burke's Law. Let's see. We don't see much of a breakdown or anything that we have here. Does anybody have any specific comments on the Burke's Law?
Just whether any of those projects are done or not happening, or if any of that funding could be returned.
So currently, no. All of the Burke's Law projects that we're currently have are in different stages, such as the brush truck refurb. That actually, the company that's doing the refurb just took possession of it to go do it. We had to wait for them to clear space and be ready to start that project. So that actually just went out. The fireboat is where it was originally going to be, one big rehabilitation. We've actually decided to turn it into a multi-year type of scenario because it would have taken that out of circulation. We wouldn't have had that resource for a long time. So we decided to do it over a period of years.
Thank you.
And this e-permitting system, does that fall under you too, or?
It doesn't directly fall under me, but the e-permitting.
Inspection.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I guess.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Fire prevention.
firefighter came out at my house when it was rebuilt. So.
Oh, yeah, no, we're out there. Yeah, no, so a few years ago, we actually, in a cost saving measure and also just for a more efficiency, we moved our fire prevention office into inspectional services. So now we have a lot of shared resources such as the e-permitting system and everything else that we that we work with, yeah.
Is there a charge for doing that?
Is there a charge
Yes.
for,
Inspecting?
oh, yeah, yep.
And who, you get that money?
Most of it goes to general fund. We do get a portion of the inspectional fee. And that goes into our revolving account for fire prevention and safety.
I meant to ask the police about animal control too.
Ah,
Don't know if
yes.
that's not your time.
No, we don't have an animal problem, right?
Are you all set with bugs?
I did have one question. Okay, there is a feasibility study,
The CWPP, you mentioned that earlier, so
right?
there's that end of it. So the community wildfire protection plan is ongoing.
Do we have anything?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, we've been working on that the whole time. So we have a company that's doing that study. There's been public outreach. There's been we've done 14 meetings and all of that. So we have a full draft that both Chris and I are reviewing right now. And we're looking to have a public meeting probably in March or April, I think is what we're targeting right now. And we'll coincide that with a little bit of public information on wildfire in general, because it's our fire season at that point. So we're going to kind of dual roll it a little bit to see if we can attract more people in. But what we'll be looking for at that point is public comment and ideas on how we could shape that draft even a little bit more before we have a final copy. And once we're done with this, we'll have a comprehensive study and a website for people to go to not only see the plan itself, but it'll also provide a lot of information on what individuals can do as property owners to reduce the harm that a wildfire can
Can
cause.
I see this copy or get some information on it?
I don't know if it's 100% ready for public release yet. Yeah, but I'll definitely, as soon as we do, I'll get in contact with you, Gil.
Yep.
Okay, because I've mentioned this once before that, I mean, obviously there's concern for all of the town, but based on where I think it was the last fire in fifties.
Well, not the last one, but one of the last major fires.
The major fire.
Yeah,
Came right through Pine Hills,
it did. Yeah, burned right through.
right there. My house would be gone right now. So that, and I spoke with one of your people and I said, okay, tell me, how are you getting us out while you get in? And that is a big question that,
It's so much more than just that. So
Okay.
what we got to look at is where that fire started, which was in the state forest. So, part of this plan is recruiting our partners over in the state to make sure that they're doing what they can do to mitigate fire in the forest. And then also understanding that we need to structurally be, have the staffing, the equipment, the training, and the coordination with our state and federal partners to be able to get in and knock that fire down before it gets so big that it can get the head of steam it did in the 50s and track across the entire.
went so quickly.
It burned all the way to the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
Yeah.
And as you know, we don't have roads in Pine Hill, so.
It's very challenging, but something, we don't have roads in Plymouth, so. It's gonna be a problem.
Yes. I would like to see something on that one, so yes. Anything else? Anna, Miss Katie, sorry. Okay, thank you. All right, can I get a motion?
I didn't get to go to that.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
You've been talking, so I thought.
So you're down one firefighter?
Currently right now, we haven't hired for one position.
So you have the one firefighter in process on the personnel line.
Yeah, that was an ad this past fall.
Mhm.
And I was actually gonna start hiring for that position, but then with the budget talks and cuts and everything else before we
Was it the
get to
fire
that
prevention
point,
slot?
it's gonna be a fire prevention slot, yeah.
Okay, so that's no longer.
It's still in the budget as of the last select board meeting.
Okay.
They did vote to keep it in there.
Maintain it, okay.
Yeah.
And then. Thermal imaging camera tick batteries, are those for the new ticks, or are you getting batteries for the old ones that you're getting rid of?
That is in the budget for our existing.
And then you said you're gonna be replacing them with the Seek thermal imaging.
Two separate, so we're gonna be replacing, so the batteries are for the handheld units, they're the more reliable version, to give you more information. The Seeks are personally handheld, and they're gonna be replacing the heads-up display that Scott put out with their face pieces. They were, interesting technology. They had their use, but their durability really isn't there.
And then you said it was one for each riding position.
Correct.
It says 88. Is it one per member?
No, it's one per riding position for the pieces of apparatus that we have. So each SCBA will have a seat.
Attached to, okay. Because you have seats that don't have bodies in them. That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But if we do, good example is this weekend, we're gonna be putting on additional storm coverage.
Yep.
So there will be a person.
There's gonna
be a storm? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
What's your ISO rating?
3. Not bad since most of our town doesn't have hydrants.
Yeah, I was gonna say as well. I think that was my last question.
Okay. You had mentioned adopting a hydrant. That was you, right?
It was brought up the other night.
Okay, but
Uh,
who said
It's something that
something?
we've done over the years, and the adopt a hydrant thing is just basically take responsibility for the hydrant in front of your home. So that, you know, when a storm like this does occur and we need that hydrant in an emergency, it's cleared and ready for us. We do have, you know, we do go around and we try to shovel out as many of the primary hydrants on a lot of the main roads as much as possible. But there's no way that we'd ever get to all of them, so we're just looking for the community to help us out a little bit. More importantly, make sure that they don't plow all of their snow from their driveway into the
Yeah.
hydrant across the street.
Which they do a lot of.
Yeah.
I noticed the hydrant in front of firehouse. The white's gotten all kind of dirty, so I was thinking about painting that anyhow, and I thought it's probably against the law to touch a hydrant.
Well, those are private, so you'd have to check with Aquarian for that.
Oh, okay, all right. But anyhow, okay. Nothing else? Got everyone? Go ahead.
Just on the capital, on the capital plan request for the engine 8.
Yes, the replacement of the engine, yeah.
Do you have I know, not really timelines, but guesstimate?
It's a 3-year minimum build.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say to that is that we do have a really good relationship with the dealer. And they do try to prioritize this as much as possible because we do have the same engine that goes through the same process every time.
Yeah.
So we do go and do minor tweaks depending on the changes in NFPA and everything. But they do generally try to green light us as quickly as possible. But right now it's been 3 years for an engine, 4 years for an aerial.
So this, where it says the project cost, it might not come out technically out of the budget for 3 years.
That's right, and it's already been slated, so they designated free cash towards that purchase. The finance director didn't decide to go with borrowing for that particular one.
This one's not borrowing.
This is not borrowing.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
Is there anything new that they can put underneath the engines to protect them from
They've been
the?
getting better and better. I mean, the company that builds them is out of Florida, so they didn't really care when they first started building them. But, you know, when they started really marketing to the Northeast, we've had them change their design. Some of the early models that we had a lot of corrosion. But since then, they have changed their manufacturing process to galvanize the frame rails. And then they also do protectorant around the connections for the electrical system. And they also do a complete undercoating with this like viscous, like
Oil-based.
oil-based liquid that, you know, gets into the crevices and everything. Eventually, all that stuff wears out and we still are gonna deal with corrosion because we still are living in the Northeast, but it has gotten on the market.
Can it be reapplied?
It could, but the cost probably would be huge because you'd have to really clean everything. So you'd have to take the engine out of service, put it up on a lift, probably open everything up. I don't think you'd get into all of the nooks and crannies of it, but yeah, there's some of it can be reapplied, and our shop does do that. When they take things apart and put it back together, they do reapply all of those coatings and protectors to that particular place.
Because that can make a big difference.
It can.
It saves us a lot of money, so I think it'd be
Yeah.
salvaged for another 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, try this again. Okay, everyone's happy now? All right, can I get a,
I'll make a motion to approve
Thank
the
you.
budget as presented.
Second.
okay, thank you. Voting, Mr. Chiquinto?
Yes.
I'll get that right. Mr. Ramey,
Yes.
Ms. Keating?
Yes.
Okay. Approved. Thank you very much. Hopefully we have a nice weekend.
I also have to leave, so good luck with the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you need to do emergency.
Yeah, we have to. do
Oh,
emergency.
Emergency, I'm sorry, emergency.
It's very, very long and in-depth.
Yes.
The only change from last year is the requested was 14,170 for new initiative, and that's an extra 10% of salary going to the town vice the grant money, which was how emergency management had been paid. So now it'll be 80% on the town, 20% coming out of grant money. because it was previously funded through Holtec and Entergy. And the other increase was just
Contractual.
contractual with the Plymouth County, the Emergency Communications Center, because I housed the money to pay the county.
Professional services.
Professional services.
Yeah,
correct.
ma'am. And departmental equipment is all the same with cleanings, and 35,000 is for debris management post storms. Basically, we hold that for DPW. So come Tuesday, we might be transferring some.
Okay. And what is his name?
Yeah,
Rio is part of your department?
yes, ma'am. Yes, he is the first fire department comfort dog. He is a trained service dog that we utilize as a community resource. His first job is firefighter and medical personnel's mental health after those tough calls that chaplains would normally attend. Our chaplain still does go, but now Rio joins us as well. As emergency management director, the fires that I go to are when people are displaced from housing. So they're at a critical low point. So it's pretty awesome to be able to have a comfort dog on hand while we're dealing with their situation. 15 public schools, 14 public, one private in schools in Plymouth. So only 2 of them have dedicated dogs. So we utilize Rio for a lot of visits and general feel good. And then we also
Big brother, big sister.
that's it. Chief Foley allows me to work under the district attorney's office sometimes with their Plymouth County Comfort Dog team. So it's basically Paw Patrol. We do crisis response, unfortunately, after schools in Plymouth County, if they lose a student or a staff member, and we went to Brown University and stuff like that after those. But we do some real good feel good events as well. And then Rio joins me every Wednesday with Big Brothers Big Sisters, where we hang out with a local 3rd grader at one of our local schools, and so he's busy.
He's busy.
He's very busy.
Where is his salary? I don't see anything in here.
That's the one that went away. It was requested. It was requested. It was not. Yeah,
Okay,
Take it out.
Yeah,
take it out.
Are you
Okay.
in the calendar?
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
And the district attorney does provide a grant to help us with some of the expenses with Rio.
Sometimes
One time. So
I do have, if calendars are needed, believe me, I have a box of the district attorney calendars as well. Rio is in May, so it is the best month.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, leave one behind if you got it.
Yeah, they're at
Okay.
the EOC, but
Okay,
Oh,
leave you his cards though too. I really gave
I've
you-
got one. Thank you
Yep.
very much.
So the EOC's UPS,
Mhm,
it says it's partially coming out of the whole tech fund.
mhm.
Why isn't it completely?
Because we still have to preserve some of the funding in there to cover his salary and then any additional unforeseen maintenance that may come down so we can keep it operational.
And then that is not done under IT's, like, town IT budget, it's just
It's,
your own thing.
this particular one is, yes.
It's like, how many UPSs are there in town that just?
I know there's one here, like, there's UPS is all over, most of them
Yeah,
are portable.
Yeah.
This is a
That would be
standalone rack
huge.
system, it's a big, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Cedarville Community Room
Mhm.
cleaning, who does the cleaning?
Well,
So cleaning, yeah.
Rio.
I was gonna say.
we, one of those line items is for more contractual cleaning, because of the amount of usage that the community room and the EOC has been utilized as a training site so often this year, which is great.
Sure.
It hasn't been able to been kept up, so, I've been contracting out to local to have deep cleans done, especially. Wasn't so much this year after they redid the voting precincts, but as you can tell, those days would
Yeah.
obviously be. But with the steering committees and other frequent meetings, contractually, we're looking at options.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause I know the Cedarville meets there like every month.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
how often does it get rented, like, other than like a town?
To be honest with you, it doesn't really get rented too much besides town committee. Everybody tends to be able to tie it into the town.
Yeah.
But that's the most that it's being used. And then the select board you know, we did the select board on the road, so they used it, so. Worked out good.
How often does the EOC get used? It's still that big room in the basement.
It is, but it's state of the art now as far as audio visual, remote capabilities, same thing with our conference room in there. Police has a very little substation, you know, one office, so they can utilize to get off the road. So
With the MEMA director and assistant director yesterday down there.
it is, not only does Chief Foley host their in-house fire recruit classes, MEMA, DFS, Coast Guard and other federal agencies, department meetings are now holding their own outside training down there as well. It is being utilized more than, obviously, than it's ever been, and it's continuing to grow. Because it's ideal for the parking and the location, so, you know, we use it a lot. Hi, buddy.
Great. Yeah, we keep it busy during blue sky days, but it's ready to go when
Yes,
we
sir.
need it. Probably be using it this month.
Don't say that, don't say that.
It's okay, it's a 10-foot video wall with football.
Everyone keeps talking about it this weekend. It's gonna be like a total.
That's where we are.
We just haven't had a decent storm in a number of years.
No, I know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those like storms that everyone talks up and not.
I would love to say that, because normally that's what happens, but I don't think so this weekend.
Yeah, okay. All right, Chris. All right, so emergency management, can I get a entertainment motion?
Yes, I make a motion to accept the emergency management budget as presented.
Second.
Okay. Okay, vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks. Stay warm.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay, this should work. Wait, put the next one. Oh. All right. Emergency management.
Is done.
We just
It's
did that.
done, right? That's for sure. Sorry.
We're gonna go to Harbor Master.
Yes,
You don't-
Harbor Masters, yes. Didn't put the right piece of paper away. At the end.
All right.
Okay.
So based on all the questions you've asked, everybody, I'll try and cover all of those pieces.
I know you will.
Yeah. So start with the budget. Our budget actually is less than level funded. It's 0.6% decrease overall. This is the 2027 board selectmen budget of $687,185. 2026 was $691,642. So that's a decrease of about $4,500. Walking through the budget itself, so we have in the salaries line item, there's currently 4 full-time harbor masters, myself as harbor master and 3 assistants. We do have a vacant position for an additional assistant harbor master, which was a new initiative from last year that carried over. We did remove some of the seasonal line item, $10,000, to kind of help balance this out, because there was a change in that the 5th full-time position, right from we proposed it as a PS3, and in talking with human resources, they recommended it be a PS5, which is standard amongst all of the assistants. I think it came down to job descriptions and the duties that we were looking for that new position to do were almost identical to the existing, so they just kind of merged that together and kept it as a PS5. So then we did increase overtime by $5,000 for the additional person. A lot of the next line items, longevity, sick, LTI, buyback, vacation or buyback, are all contractual obligations. And you do see, I think you see this on your sheets, but the grant revolving fund offset, does that show?
91,721.
Yeah, so we have two revolving funds that partially fund some of the full-time staff. So we have the boat ramp revolving account, which is the Leo DeMarche ramp, any revenue that comes in through parking decals, daily annual parking and parking tickets. They go into that revolving fund and stay with that. So that's how we support the staff that's there in the summer. We have one of the assistant harbor masters that oversees the operations there and the staffing and managing, so we pay partial out of that. The second one is newer, that's the cruise line revolving account, which was established last spring. We do fund half of that new full-time position was 50% out of the revolving fund for the cruise ship. And we were bringing them on based on the added responsibilities of the cruise ship coming into Plymouth, 40 to 50 times a year. So they would be responsible for working directly with the cruise line to look at, their stays, help coordinate any portside facilities that are needed, whether it's trash disposal, sewage, stuff like that, water. So we're kind of giving them the point on the cruise ship aspect. So you funded half of that account. Repair and maintenance equipment, it covers our patrol vessels, light pier maintenance, waste oil disposal, which is we're required to collect commercial waste oil as part of a Coast Guard requirement for the port. That stayed level funded. We did increase a little bit, but that didn't look at the town manager, just level funded that line item. The mooring operations, so the town currently owns 12 transient moorings that we use to rent through the summer. So people visiting Plymouth, pretty popular program. We probably generate $40,000 to $50,000 a year in stays. So that's revenue coming back. So we have to service those moorings to make sure they're safe. Docwa is the platform that we use. It's kind of like a hotels.com where people book those reservations. So that's the platform that we use. Helps kind of get the town of Plymouth out there. Pretty much every harbor nowadays uses Docwa. So they have, if you have an account on there, you can basically say, I want to stay in Plymouth this week. Show me the availability, and you'll see Safe Harbors Marina, you'll see the yacht club, and you'll see the town all listed. So that's worked out really well, kind of putting the town on the map for transients. The town mooring launch service, this is really the people that stay with us have access to the launch system. So we charge them one fee. We don't have them pay us and then pay the launch. That was some of the feedback we got early on. So we cover the launch for the year, and it's really to promote people to come into town. We don't want them to be on their boat and say, well, it'd be really nice to go walk around, but then we're gonna have to launch a skiff, and we'll just wait till the next town. We'll go out to eat or something. We're trying to encourage them to come into town to spend money. So we make that as part of that cost. The online mooring software, that was a new initiative from FY26. So you do see a $10,000 increase in this line, but that was just moved from the new initiative and put into this area. This is mooring software that we do bill all of our moorings for the year. So everybody that has a mooring in the harbor gets an annual bill, generates right around $400,000 a year coming back to the town. And this is a more user-friendly. We're emailing bills. We can do text notifications, stuff that we were never able to do with the old system. In the old system, we were told by IT, we've used the system for 20 years, and there's only one guy. He created the system, and he told us that he was getting ready to retire. So we needed to kind of shift gears and go a different route. So we added that there. Meetings, education, training. We did have an increase in this area. Part of it was due to the select boards. One of their goals was to obviously retaining employees and training them, so we did include some additional money there. We also potentially have another full-time position, so there would be added cost for training. The other piece to this too is the new Hanson Malone voting safety law that was passed. That actually kicks in April 1st this year. So we wanted to put in a little bit of money. We do voting safety courses, and we always have, but we anticipate there being a more of a demand for these voting safety classes. And we also we do some things that you can actually take the course online if you want. But if somebody's doing it in person, we try and make it a bit more interesting by doing some hands-on, whether it's fire extinguisher demos, flare demos, stuff that you're not going to get online. So we did add a little bit of money based on the demand of the courses, and then some of those additional things that we'd like to do with those people. And that was funded in the town manager's or select board budget. Supplies and materials, that stayed level funded, which is anything from lines to AD pads, medical supplies, it's covered in that line. Uniform supplies, that's level funded. We did look for a little bit of an increase, but that wasn't approved. Dues and memberships, we just carry a $500 line item for that. We sign up for the Cape and Islands Harbor Masters Association. They offer a lot of in-house training. So it's a great value, $500. We get access to that training. So that's good. Departmental equipment, we have 2 items here. One outboard engine for $4,500. That's going to be a 20 or a 25 horse outboard for a 13-foot whaler. And then dewatering pumps replacement. So we carry dewatering pumps on all of our boats, and the idea is, boats taking on the water, you need the dewatering pump to start pumping that water out, and try and prevent that boat from sinking, getting it back to the boat ramp or to the marina for haul out. So we have probably total, we have about 5 pumps. We were looking to replace 2 of them. Just 2 of the oldest ones that are rotted out. They're used for other things, salt water. They're not, I don't think there's any dewatering pumps that are designed to be used in the saltwater environment. So they typically have Honda engines, and the mufflers will rot off them, and the frames and stuff start to degrade. So we're getting probably about, I would say, 4 to 5 years out of these pumps, depending on how well you maintain them. And then marine fuel, we had a $30,000 request that was cut by 5,000 to 25,000. We feel as though we can, keep our level of service. Fuel prices are somewhat stable right now and on the low end, whereas in, a few years ago, we were looking at like $4 or $5 a gallon. So that would eat right through that budget. So we did reduce that. As far as kind of shifting gears, Burke's Law, we did look at that. There's a few items that can be closed out. The mooring plan, Town Wharf bulkhead, the repower Marine Unit 5 or MU5, and the pump out boat replacement can all be closed out. The others are pending. We just went into bid for Town Wharf repairs and extensions. So we got a contractor on for that, and then we get some other procurement pieces for the other ones that they're fairly current. They're this past spring. So
Can you just go with that? I've just found a page, sorry. Can you just go with that quickly? Which ones are closing out?
Mooring plan.
Yeah.
Town Wharf bulkhead.
Yeah.
Repower MU5.
Yep.
Pump out boat replacement.
Okay.
So we'll get those closed out. To make sure there's no invoices or anything.
Okay.
There.
You get us an email and then make sure you close out the PO.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you want to go over, obviously we presented some cuts to the select board. They chose not to go that direction and they approved it, but I'll leave that up to you. As far as capital goes, we, all three of our projects ranked pretty well. The biggest one, Town War Phase Two. We worked with, Dave and I worked with, Tiffany to submit a grant to Seaport Economic Council, and we did get a $1.5 million award that we accepted a week and a half ago. So that is still going forward to town meeting, but it's only going to be for the match, which is 300,000. So in the memo, it basically said we would apply to Seaport, and if we were to receive funding, that we would just use the match for that. So it was 20% for at 300,000. I think it was.
This is for which,
So it goes from 1.48500 to 300,000.
It's talking about the.
Town Wolf, okay.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Capital improvements. That's the one I couldn't think of.
See all this?
Looks like we have January 28th meeting.
So
All the time.
some of the other things too, just to kind of point out, and I covered it when we were talking about budget cuts. So we already started looking at harbor fees. We started that process in December. Just to kind of see where we are. It's been 5 years since we adjusted any of them. Harbor Committee has kind of started that process. We were gonna try and push to get new fees in for this calendar year, but it was too close. So we're looking at revising fees for the 27. But just so you know, it's in the works, and obviously all the discussions about budget, we're looking at those fees. And
How do you compare to other towns?
Well, some of the fees that we looked at, some of our commercial fees like piers and stuff like that. We looked at Provincetown, Sandwich, really all of the communities in Cape Cod Bay that have commercial access, and we were pretty low. So obviously a good
Room for
time to,
improvement.
yeah,
Are you full all year?
yeah, oh yeah,
We have a waiting list for moorings.
yes,
Yeah.
650 people long.
Oh, wow.
Takes
No,
about,
definitely
takes
right.
about 10 to 12 years to get a mooring in the harbor here.
10 to 12 years?
Yes,
Wow.
yep, so the demand's there.
Okay.
But the state law does put a cap on what you can charge, so you can basically charge an adequate fee to cover the cost of the program. So obviously, we've spent a lot of money on infrastructure dredging, so we can show that, but it's typically not, you're not raising revenue.
Yeah.
Positive revenue, you kind of covering their expenses to
Okay.
kind of cover the harbor.
I mean, it shows them you kind of cover some of the salaries as well out of these accounts, so.
Yep.
I think my only comment is on the capital improvement, the state pier permitting for the $40,000.
Yep.
That isn't, that would be separate from the state pier float movements.
Yeah, so,
Works.
well, not really, but I'll actually. I have this up from one of the meetings, just so you know.
Oh, yeah, I saw that picture, yeah.
What I'm talking about
Yep.
here is
Yeah. It's
Yes.
right next to the Mayflower, that float.
Yeah.
So we were hopefully, we did have the previous capital to fix that. The largest float, which is like, I think it's like 15 by 40.
Yep.
And when we took it over to Long Point, they hauled it out and they said, we're gonna do some temporary repairs. It's not worth putting that amount of money into like a full rebuild. They were like, you're just gonna start new. So we basically had some temporary repairs that would buy us like 2, 3, 4 years. And this is obviously, if you've seen the picture, that it's crowded, and that's only at like 75% capacity.
That's
It's
just
built in
the
open
mooring
space.
skiffs that are on there.
Yep, so these are all skiffs. Each skiff pays $250 to the town to be able to tie to one of our floating docks and access their boat. But this area, we do want to enhance this a bit. to allow for more like temporary tie-up space, so people could tie up and go into town.
Like actual boats, not just.
Yes, yeah, so like if somebody's visiting and they wanted to go grab something to eat, we wanna, I think, create more space to allow them to do that.
And Wareham has like 3 like transient spots right on the skiff.
Yeah, so the permitting and design would be to permit to design something a little larger, probably permanent.
Mhm.
So we wouldn't haul it out at the end of the year, probably be concrete or this area can get quite rough, like if we get an easterly wind, it'll kind of get right from the beach right down into this corner.
Mm.
So this you can get like 2 to 3 foot seas here. So permitting and design, and then, you know, if we have that permitted design, we'd probably start to look for grant funding to fund the construction of it. The other piece that the town has discussed with DCR, who owns the state pier, is taking ownership of that. Initially, I put that in capital as like kind of a placeholder, like, well, if the town does take this over, we're gonna have to probably do some repairs to that structure. We're not there yet.
Okay.
Those discussions are ongoing, so we're gonna focus on this smaller piece, which is town owned. So we basically own the gangway and the floating docks off of the DCR pier.
Does DCR also own the land with the jetty, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, they own Water Street, everything east, like the 2 little turnaround areas, the rock, the DCR pier, the bathrooms.
So if we built that, it wouldn't connect to that land, it would connect where it is now.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I'm kind of open to any opportunity. It might make more sense to have a gangway come off the land than it does. There's like a little extension that comes off the pier that's not in the best shape either, so we'll kind of look at all the different possibilities we could do there. I will say this, there's a lot of like tourists that just walk down here to get a shot of the Mayflower, because you can kind of stand there and your Mayflower's right behind you. So there's a lot of people that just kind of walk down there just to get close to the water.
Well, that's kind of my other question too. If you have full-size boats docking there, I know there's that little circle that people stand in to take pictures of the Mayflower too. Are you gonna be obstructing that?
Maybe, depending on the tide. If it's
Yeah.
a low tide, it'll still be low and you'll still be able to see it, but I really didn't think about that, but you know, maybe there's. I guess the only issue, we'd have to obviously work with DCR to figure out like what they want to do as well, because we're.
Make a little crow's nest in that circle, so you
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Stop spending money.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll look at all options and see what.
Well, actually, so,
Should I let him in?
Yes,
He'll
Yeah.
checking up on you.
Oh, my- yes, let 'em know.
so
it's about time.
also, right now,
Just woke up.
let's say this 40,000 gets approved this year.
Mhm.
And then this 140,000 does not get approved next year.
Then we would-
Where does that leave this project?
Well, one of 2 things, we either find grant funding to. You know, maybe that 140 is like the match, kind of what we're doing with Seaport now, so it's 20% of the total cost. Or, you know, the design will be fine. If we have to do permitting, you get some time to do that project. It's not, doesn't expire right away. So, yeah, if we didn't get year 2's funding, the follow-up funding to do something like that, we're still looking for other pots of money, grant funding, maybe there's a partnership with DCR. You know, to say, hey, we'd like to improve this area here. Can we work with you guys, and maybe they have some funding that, you know, they could allocate towards it.
I guess is there any tie-up spots if this 40,000 gets approved? Like, so there will still be skip docking
Yes.
for people, okay?
Yep. Yeah, if the 40,000 gets approved, you're just doing permitting and design. Nothing gets fixed right away. Like it'll stay like this for probably, at least a couple of years until permitting and design is done, and then we would move forward with construction.
Anything else?
You?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
I'd love to make a motion to accept the budget as written.
Okay,
Second, sorry, I forgot there's only two of us.
no, there's three of us, so,
Well, but you can't,
right, okay.
Yes.
Voting, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes, okay. Chad,
Thank you for the time.
thank you very much, always enjoy having you.
Good luck, Dave.
Now we have the difficult one, yes,
Big budget coming out.
big budget. You. Okay. All right, David Gould.
So what might be easier is just to go through the changes that were proposed from in this year's budget versus last year. So obviously salaries and factual are already there, and some of our budgetary line item changes that you'll see. We have proposed reducing the White Horse Beach management line item from 10,000 to 5, and then taking 5,000 and reallocating it. Basically splitting that 5,000, putting some towards lakes and ponds, and some of that towards supplies and materials. Ultimately, the remaining 5,000 was cut by the town manager as part of the original budget cuts. So you'll see that line item is essentially zeroed out. The reason we were putting additional funds into supplies and materials is obviously things are much more expensive than they have been over the last few years. And there's probably no single biggest request we get, spring, summer, and fall from folks, wanting to do lakes and ponds, monitoring or testing of their lakes and ponds. And, as you can imagine, trying to $7,500 doesn't really cover much, if anything. What essentially allows us to do is to do some baseline monitoring of some ponds or some parameters. So the cheaper things like E. coli, nitrogen and phosphorus, but that's about it. So we were looking to just bump that up a little bit. Ultimately, those increases were then part of our second round of proposed cuts. So you'll see that. A couple things to keep in mind when you look at the budgetary line items. A few years ago, when the climate resiliency and sustainability planner came in our department, they came with 2 line items that had been previously approved and as part of the town manager's budget. Energy and efficiency for 30,000 and climate action for 25,000. So those are, relatively speaking, for our line items, those were pretty significant. So the reason I say that is obviously, we had the $5,000 cut to the White Horse Beach line item, the ones we were proposing to the board after that. And then about 2 years ago, we also had a $13,000 cut to our hazardous waste line item. So when you look at all of that total, that was like a 23% cut to our, if all of those cuts went through, that's a 23% cut to our line items. Excuse me. One thing to keep in mind is our hazardous waste line item is now at 36,860, and it used to be at 50. Hazardous waste, like everything else, hazardous waste disposal has been going up. So what we would do is towards the end of the year, we would usually have a little bit of money left over that we could do probably one specific cleanup in town. If another department had an abatement project or a cleanup or something, we could cover that. We can't do that anymore. And for the first time, if you take the 36, you're roughly 18,000, little over $18,000 for each hazardous waste event we have each year. We came within $400 of that benchmark this year, so we're right on the cusp again on that. So those are the proposed and, those are the line items we have. Like I mentioned, the $5,000 was part of the original cut, and then we have the other cuts, that the board decided not to go forward with, but we proposed. We can talk about that, or I can go to capital or anything else you.
Any questions on this?
I had more questions about your electric charging stations.
Mhm,
I noticed that program seems to kind of break even.
mhm.
Um, is there any reason we don't charge more for power? Or is it just that that's what we're allowed to do, or?
Nope, so, we inherited that, program when the resiliency and sustainability planner came to our department. And one of the first things we noticed was that that wasn't even sustainable, the way it had been built with the fees that were currently being charged. So we increased those fees. We need to increase those fees again, so you'll probably see a request before the board. So those do need to go up, because it's not covering the cost of the maintenance and repairs when one of those things does go down. The other thing we're trying to do is diversify. The first EV charging stations were all the same. And we're trying to diversify. So those companies are sort of, as you probably know, none of those companies are incredibly stable at this point because they're all relatively new. We'd like to have a diversification of those in case one of them does go out. We're not stuck with antiquated equipment.
Are you talking about the actual
The actual
charger?
charger, yeah. So, we're trying to diversify those a little bit too. And, like I said, you'll probably see a request sometime in early spring to the board about bumping those up again, because they do need to go up to cover the cost of all the maintenance and equipment. Yeah.
And then kind of tied into that, I noticed in one of your capital improvement requests, it was for a new truck, and it mentioned that there's a push for all town vehicles to become electric.
There is a town policy that was adopted by the select board,
Okay.
to move forward. Now, not every department follows that, but they should be. There is a policy there, so obviously, for our department, energy and environment, we should sort of be leading the way. And so right now, we have a truck, ME2 is what we refer to it as, that needs to be replaced, and we would be able to have, that be an electric, truck. We currently have, two electric vehicles. They work great. One of them is a Ford Lightning. It's fantastic. We have no issues using that. And the truck that we're looking to replace ME2 with is capable of doing the towing of the trailer, that we have, and the mowing equipment and all of that. So it's able to tow that plus our wildlife trailer. So it's capable of doing what we need it to do. And so, yeah, we propose using an electric.
And does that save you money overall? Is the energy that you're using provided by the town's solar panels that were set up so far? Is it from an electric company? Is it?
So obviously it's carbon offset and air quality as well, right? So there's multiple benefits there. Not to go off the budget, but you'll see on.
Which I believe in those things.
Yeah, you'll see an advisory and finance, town meeting article where we're gonna come to you in the next few weeks with some solar projects to speak more about the offsets.
Okay.
So that'll be pretty significant. You'll hear more about that.
Yeah.
So we find the vehicles work fine for what our needs are, and we just want to continue. We sort of need to be an example, I think, for the rest of the town departments. If we as energy and environment aren't following the policy that's trying to make the town greener and reduce carbon, then no one else is probably gonna do it. So we need to at least set the example. Yeah.
Which is awesome. And that I just know, so like I got solar panels on my house in July, and I haven't paid the electric company since then.
Yeah.
And when the town manager was talking to us a couple weeks ago, he was saying health insurance and energy costs were causing our property taxes to go up insane amounts. And so immediately I was like, why are we not putting solar panels all over the place?
Which is what you're gonna hear about in a couple weeks. So we've gone through a really extensive investigation of where we can do that.
I started.
So we'll try to,
You just got back.
No, I read it.
yeah. So we're trying to do that. There's areas that we would love to do that we've been told by Eversource, interconnection isn't gonna happen in those areas for at least 3 or 4 years. So those had to drop off the table. But there are other areas, the library, DPW, Plymouth South Middle, Plymouth South High, Plymouth North, that we are proposing that. We're working with the school committee, we've been working with DPW. So we have some PPAs coming forward that hopefully, we'll save on average a little over 250,000 a year for the town. And to your point, when we talk about the budget, raising revenues, or saving 250,000 is helpful. Every little bit is gonna help. So you do that over 20 years and now you have sort of an impact. So you'll hear more about that, obviously, because it's gonna be going before A&F soon.
And, if we had all electric cars, obviously the environmental impacts, but
Yeah.
the, savings on fuel alone.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Do you control the price at the EV chargers, like the price per kilowatt hour?
We do not.
That's up to
Yeah.
ChargePoint or whoever is
Yeah.
managing it.
I did notice, just looking at this real quickly, the one thing I didn't discuss in my budget, was there's a $14,000 departmental request. That's actually coming out of environmental affairs account, and that's to fund, 2 of our mandatory, dam inspections. But again, that's not general fund, that's coming out of environmental affairs. And they're both up for these are small dams, so they're on a 10-year, inspection requirement, so those are moving forward, this year with the need to get those done, so that's the $14,000 request.
I did have more questions about the Boy Scout Bridge.
Voice coverage, yep.
So I noticed that there was a lot of talk about it becoming ADA compliant.
Mhm.
The surrounding trail isn't really walkable, I would say. So is there plans to also connect it all the way down to Jenny Pond past the skate park? too,
So
or-
the pathway from Newfield Street to the Boy Scout Bridge could be easily overlaid with compacted stone dust and be ADA compliant.
Is that a future goal, or is that just,
That's something that we're working on.
okay,
Sort of concurrent with this one. That is not a big lift at all. That one's pretty easy. The connection from the bridge to the connection from the bridge to Billington Street is a relatively small, and as part of that project, we would design a new concrete walkway sidewalk from the sidewalk to the bridge, so that would be ADA compliant. And essentially what we would be doing is making the bridge longer and lifting it up. And then because of that, we would be able to meet the grades to make it ADA compliant. So I think one of the nice things about that bridge, I think aesthetically, it's quite attractive. But it's very low the way it was set in the valley, so we can lift that up and get it more visible. So aesthetically, it's gonna be even nicer, but at the same time, we can accomplish getting it to the ADA compliant. It's not a huge lift to be able to do that, so ADA compliance certainly wouldn't come from Billington C to the bridge, because there's lots of trail roots and trees and uneven surfaces. But you could easily make it compliant from Winfield with the sidewalks on Summer to Billington and then route it back. So you'd be extending that loop. When we're done with the current project, that would essentially make all of the parks and all the sidewalks from Water Street and Brewster Gardens all the way up to this bridge ADA compliant, and that's a pretty extensive area. Yeah,
plus that whole loop behind Jenny Pond?
yes, when we do Dark Orchard as well. Yep.
And then maybe I was misreading this. It seems like your whole budget is a revolving fund. Is that, because there was a request in here to increase the amount?
So we have a Long Beach revolving fund. So we have our operating budget that we went over, and then, for Long Beach, much, if not all of the funding for Long Beach comes from the Long Beach revolving fund.
Okay.
We did ask for increases, to that for a couple of different reasons. One, we've been asked to start paying for some of the, parking attendants at the main beach, that recreation used to cover. So we're gonna be responsible for taking over some of that. We have the opportunity, to apply for a seawall grant that we'd like to do. So we replaced a lot of the linear footage of the seawall out at Long Beach, the main part of the beach. But we still have an area to go past Sandy's that we'd like to get done. That is designed and permitted as of about a month ago. So now we're gonna work towards getting some grant funding for the construction. And so we'd like to set aside in there some money for the grant match. If we are successful, we could then use that and it wouldn't be a request to the general fund. And then, of course, there's also a slight increase in there to continue to up the hourly rate for the seasonal staff, because it's quite a competition to get seasonal staff to work. It's not the easiest job in the world, as you can imagine. So,
You're talking about lifeguards or?
no, I'm talking about the staff that manages Long Beach, for the Shorebird program and the OHVs, the 4x4s. It'll take a fair amount of, verbal abuse during the course of the summertime, so. We need to make sure that we can still manage to get the staff that we need out there to do that. Otherwise, obviously, we can't keep the beach open, so. That represents the increases that you're looking at.
And is that mostly generated from beach stickers or?
It is, so, the parking revenues in the main beach lot and that gravel lot when you first pull out onto the beach, that's 75% of that goes in the general fund, and then 4x4 sticker revenues go into the general fund. So managing the beach, from what we do, which is the end of that gravel parking lot out to the point, is all paid for by the revolving fund.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll see in there too that there are two staff people and they're largely paid 100%. One of them is 100% paid out of that, and the other is 43. I think it's 43 or 47%.
47.
Paid for. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are all the questions I had.
Okay,
Do we have, any Burks?
Oh, yeah.
See if I can read it on my phone.
It was cyanobacteria sampling from 2020.
Yep, so, as I mentioned, we have our lakes and ponds monitoring, which doesn't do nearly what we needed to do, so, we asked for an appropriation back in 2020 from our environmental affairs fund for this amount. And so essentially what we've been doing is when we have calls on cyanobacteria blooms, if we need to do the required sampling, or HHS, public health gets a call, they can use some of that funding as well and use it year after year. And when that gets expended, I'll go back and ask for another few years of that. So it hasn't been fully expended, but we didn't expect it to. We kind of use a little bit each year to cover the costs when they come up. And of course, it does vary depending upon how many ponds have blooms.
Yeah.
Like last summer, it was pretty extensive. But that's what we use that for. Yep. And then some of these other ones that you'll see, we're also environmental affairs. So when the money if there's money left over and it gets returned, it goes back into environmental affairs. Let's see, I see Store Pond, that project is to replace the water control structure at Store Pond. Store Pond is the pond across from Cottage Park. There's a water control structure there that's in deplorable condition. That is going through the permitting process. Final engineering plan should be available in the spring. So you'll see that dissipate very quickly because we're getting to the end of that project. Herring Pond management, that should be completed very soon, as Savory Pond. Those are both environmental affairs funded. Coastal resiliency is a very new, project that just came about, so.
Was that the insurance AI modeling one?
That, yes, yep. Vehicle replacement was for we actually paid for one of our vehicles to be replaced out of environmental affairs. That was last year. And that was also an electric vehicle. And engineering for Black Cat is underway now. That's still a relatively new project. And again, that came from environmental affairs as well. So most of those projects, are general funding projects.
Was that vehicle purchase though? It looks like you spent $41,000 of your 52,000, and now there's 11,000.
Yep, so that's gonna go back into environmental affairs. Yeah. Typically, what will happen with the environmental affairs fund, it gets renewed based on all the new pilots. You usually get a number from finance mid-July, something like that, when we know what the revenue, so oftentimes you'll see our request for environmental affairs, use of that fund in fall town meeting, because we'll have a new number as to what's available in that account.
Sure.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the energy and environmental budget as presented.
Okay, good.
I'll second.
Vote,
Yes.
yes. Myself, yes. Okay. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Next Wednesday is that meeting. And all of the solar.
Yes.
You should get that packet.
Is the Cedarville landfill the one that can't get connected?
Unfortunately, that's the one we probably wanted the most.
Yeah, I was like, huge.
Especially if we were able to. We were hoping that we would be able to basically do 2 projects for revenue generation there, take some material that deep we would approve. And we could import to level the site, because it's kind of awkward how it has that low spot. And then we could really maximize the square footage and do so. We're still gonna work towards it, but we've been told that's probably 3 to 4 years out before they're gonna fully evaluate it again.
Okay.
It's a great project.
Right, yeah. At Cedarville Steering, there was some opposition about the water runoff off the panels changing something. And I don't see it, and
Definitely not. Yeah,
the water's still gonna be in the same spot, so.
yeah, well, it's, as you know, it's a cap landfill anyway, so we would have to deal with that issues there, or continue
I
to
have
monitor it, so.
Yeah.
Of the board
Yeah, I just
from
don't
last
see
year.
Yeah, it's just-
Yesterday,
Sitting.
that wasn't here.
Yeah, but
Later last
that
time.
was our,
So I was gonna do it.
that was our primary one.
Now,
We looked at
give
Beaver
everyone-
Dam a little bit on the
For what?
animate, but the slopes aren't conducive.
You'll be doing one of the
I know,
reports.
I
Okay.
did the same, I
So,
put solar on the back
This is
of
a
my
copy
house,
of
and
the year's report. that you
where my
can
house
use
sits
as a guide.
an approximation to
Make
the
a
dock,
copy.
it's like
Did,
that angle in the middle of the summer is.
Which one
my
did you wanna
panels
do, by the
are
way?
Overperforming.
I think I was doing
Perfect.
environment.
That's too bad.
Yes,
I was surprised when I saw the.
Energy and
packet
environment, that was-
Brianna was
No
doing
doubt.
police.
She's
Yeah.
doing police.
so we'll wait.
Youth fire.
That was
Yeah.
disappointing,
Yes,
but we'll get there someday.
all right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See you soon.
Thanks.
Brianna,
Are you excited to?
and you're doing
Talk about
emergency
stuff.
management. No,
Yeah.
yes.
Unless you wanna walk in.
Are the other subcommittees?
Asking about them,
Is
some of,
energy and environment even on there?
2 of them I had gone.
It's called-
the other side.
Where is it?
And
It's good, when you said, it, I was like, wait a minute.
keep saying, send us an email.
It's in
But
the,
we'll
it
be
is in
sending
the
out a.
public safety.
Blanket on health department heads to use it in the next 2 weeks, but we try to clean.
It was
up
the fire,
mid-
yes.
Beginning mid-February, so it's all done before town meeting.
I think
Emergency
it'd be
was
nice thing to put in the annual report, like.
Yep, that's
legally,
police.
so,
Emergency
all these open articles.
is fire, right?
May,
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, so we can close,
Yeah.
but where we've had.
Hi,
People
Kevin.
looking to reallocate some of the article funds that are lent and department necessarily isn't done. I mean, they ask for it for. We want them to tell us they're done with it, the project's complete and they're ready to return it.
Who was he? He was at our meeting last night too.
It's Kevin Lynch. Yes, Kevin hasn't been seen in a very long time.
We are still in live meeting and we're still
Sorry.
recording.
Okay,
I
thank you.
believe. Would you like to
I'd
adjourn?
like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for all watching.